What causes inflation and how it affects you? Why does your money feel weaker every year? Did your grocery bill suddenly feel heavier? Is your favorite $5 coffee now costing $6? Yeah, that's inflation messing with your wallet. But what exactly is inflation? Why does it happen? And how is it sneakily stealing your money? Let's break it down in the simplest way possible and no jargon, just real talk. What is inflation? Inflation is the rise in prices over time. It means your money buys less than it used to. So if a chocolate bar cost $1 last year and now costs $1.10, that's 10% inflation on chocolate. It's not just candy, it's gas, rent, groceries, electronics, everything. Now, some inflation is normal. In fact, economies need a little bit of inflation, around 2% per year, to keep growing. But when inflation spikes too fast, that's when things start to hurt. Imagine this. You get a 3% raise at work, but inflation is at 7%. Congratulations, you actually lost 4% of your buying power. What causes inflation? Let's talk about why prices go up. There are three main causes of inflation, and each one is like a villain in its own way. 1. Demand pull inflation. Too much money, too few goods. Think of Black Friday. Everyone is rushing to buy TVs and there's only so many left. What happens? Prices go up. That's demand pull inflation. During times of economic growth, like when stimulus checks go out or interest rates are low, people have more money to spend. But if businesses can't keep up with demand, boom, prices rise. Real example. During the pandemic, people saved money while staying home. Once things opened up, demand surged, but supply chains were still broken. Result? Prices skyrocketed. 2. Cost push inflation. It costs more to make stuff. Imagine this. Oil prices go up, transportation costs rise, food becomes more expensive, restaurants charge more. That's cost push inflation. When the cost of materials, wages, or energy rises and businesses pass that cost to you. Real example. When gas prices jumped in 2022, shipping costs rose globally. That meant everything from avocados to iPhones got more expensive. Not because of demand, but because of higher costs. 3. Built-in inflation. Expectations create reality. If workers expect prices to rise, they ask for higher wages. Businesses then raise prices to cover those higher wages, and the cycle continues. This is inflation caused by the expectation of inflation, and it's surprisingly powerful. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. How inflation affects you. All right, now that you know the villains, let's talk about what they're doing to your wallet. 1. Your money loses value. If you're holding $1,000 in a bank account and inflation is 7%, that $1,000 has the buying power of only $930 a year later. It's like your money is melting. Slowly. 2. Your savings are at risk. Interest rates on savings accounts are often lower than inflation. So even if your bank gives you 2% interest, but inflation is 5%, you're losing 3% in real value. That's why people turn to investments, real estate, and even gold during high inflation periods. 3. Groceries, rent, and gas. Inflation doesn't hit all things equally. Necessities like food, rent, and gas usually rise faster. So, while your income stays the same, your essential expenses eat up a bigger chunk of your budget. Example. If rent goes from $1,200 to $1,400 and your salary doesn't change, you've effectively gotten a pay cut. 4. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve or Bank of Canada, raise interest rates. That means mortgage payments get more expensive, car loans cost more, credit card debt gets heavier, so borrowing slows down, and inflation cools down, in theory. But for the average person, it makes life more expensive. Is inflation always bad? Believe it or not, a little inflation is good. It encourages people to spend and invest rather than hoard cash. It helps businesses grow. It can even push wages upward. But when inflation gets too high or moves too fast, it creates chaos. And when it's too low or negative, deflation, that's also dangerous. It can lead to job cuts and economic slowdown. The goal is balance. Think of inflation like fire. A little warms you up. Too much? It burns everything down. Inflation might seem like this big, scary economic force, but now you know how it works, why it happens, and how to spot it in your own life. So next time you wonder why eggs cost more than they used to, you'll know exactly what's going on. Drop a comment below. What's one item you've noticed has gone way up in price lately? If this video helped you understand inflation, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more simple financial breakdowns. And remember, it's not how much money you make, but how much it's worth over time.